Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the chat room. My name is always Amantle Nsala, and I am joined by an amazing person today. An amazing person. You might know her from LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. She is one of the noisiest Gen Z, but making the right noise. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Palesa Sealetsa. Hi.
You know, I've had many introductions, but I feel like this is my favorite one. Yes, I am that.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I was just telling Palesa that just before we got in here that I was fingers crossed that you make it here, because we know that one thing about you, you're booked and busy, right?
Yes, I do be that.
So, you know, I'm one person who doesn't like taking over someone's introduction, because I may have an opinion of you that most people don't have. So I just want you to take your time to just introduce yourself to the audience. Who are you?
I love her so much. Okay, well, Palesa Sealetsa is the name, and I like to define myself as an experientialist. So that it may not be a word, but you know, the dictionary is not done. Okay, we're gonna add some words in there. Okay, so I like defining myself as that, because that, you know, word describes how much I live. You know, I move in a way that I want to live holistically. I want to embrace my individuality, just like water. I don't want to be confined. I want to make sure I practice my free will, you know, to the extreme, you know. And I just happen to also be a very vibrant individual. Like you said, I'm loud, I'm quiet, I can't be defined by anything outside of an experientialist. I just flow in where my energy just needs me to go in that moment. So that is me, and that falls into all aspects of me: friendship, career, me loving myself, or just, that's me. I show up the way that I am everywhere, the same way.
I think you're the perfect representation of Gen Z. There's authenticity there, right? Okay, so talking about career, we are faced with the challenge of talking about something here. Gen Z enters the workforce, right? From different industries. You have a fashion, you have your corporate world, you know, and I just want us to, you know, break that down today. So just starting off, let's talk about just the entry point of entering, you know, the workforce, because right now we're faced with the challenge of the moment you get into the workforce, you're faced with millennials, and this is now a clash of the two generations. So just take me back to the entry point. As you enter the workforce, what myths or stereotypes does Gen Z do you feel particularly compelled to challenge?
Oh wow, that is a very, because you're putting me on a platform to represent us. Oh, and I will gladly do that. So firstly, before I answer that, my experience, obviously, before, you know, informing, you know, the latter, the other part of the question is, let me tell you, it is a very interesting change of life. I'm gonna say life holistically, because, you know, in uni, for instance, we had 3 days more classing. We would be in class 3 days a week, 4 hours a week. Sometimes we'd extend that because we have group work and all that. So I would say the freedom, the freedom of, you know, your choice. You could practice your choice more, your free will more, you know, because you're not confined by a certain system as much as it would be when you're working, right? And, you know, not all systems are bad. I'm just saying system, just, you know. And so I even talked about this on my TikTok. Please don't follow me on TikTok.
Let's hit that follow button.
Oh my gosh, because I'm very different on TikTok, on LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'm very, you know, anyway, but you can. Right? So where there's a gray area is the transition part. You know, we had the freedom to, you know, say that I don't want to go to class. I think I'm you know, sometimes we don't sign the registration form. You know, we practice our free will very much more holistically in uni now. And then the working industry comes, and it's just like, you thought you could do that.
This is our world.
We have this, you now have leave days, my love. Paid leave days, my love. You have sick leave, you have annual leave, you have, you know, all
a different world.
It's a whole different world. And, you know, the problem with that is that, you know, it's a beautiful, you know, experience of life, sure, but the problem that I have with it is that there's no in between. There's no we weren't told like prior to graduate, like the day before, what, okay, guys, you're going to graduate. This is the real world. This is how it looks like. These are the accounts you need to open. These are the investments you need to tap into. This is the business if you decide. This is how the market looks. Is it saturated? Is it what? You know, we weren't taught that. We kind of have to figure that out on our own, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so much mentors can do where now we have to pay for mentors. But if someone has no salary because they're unemployed right after they graduate, how are they going to go and get mentorship?
I think it always baffles me with the mentorship programs where I think the mentorship program would be about like 3,000 for unemployed people.
Goodness.
And it's like, make it make sense.
Exactly.
And if anything, if at least the mentorship program was more of, okay, you're going through a mentorship program and immediately after we're putting you in a position where, you know, you immediately get a job or an internship. Now it's up to you whether you can keep it or not. I'd understand. So I definitely understand what you're saying when you say that if anything, the bridge between just like going to school and then entering the workforce, it's a bit shaky there.
Yeah, because we need to be so for real right now. I'm going to use the language we use.
Yeah.
Okay? We need to be so for real with this gap. Because you'd find that I also, you know, I sit down with millennials as well. And I just ask, I'm just like, how did you do it? And he's like, I kind of had to stumble. But I'm just like, stumble through experience. I'm like, experience is not always the best teacher. Well, it is a very, very, very good teacher, but it shouldn't be the only teacher in that classroom. You know what I mean? Like, if you know how, you know, everywhere there's like 13 things I wish I knew before I was 30. You know, those are things that people are posting now. You know what I mean? But like, you know, I can use that to do it right now so I can avoid those things. But it's just like, can we have that? Can I not just be told, Tsama hela? You know, because that fosters fear, anxiety, depression, you know, and you won't really, you know, be your best when you're, you know, going forward to these rooms because you're scared. But if you had that confidence that for the fact that I prepared and I'm going to do my absolute best, and what happens after this has nothing to do with whether I'm worth it or not. I know that I'm worth it because I prepared. I had someone helping me. I had an organization helping me. I had people talking to me about their experiences. If this door does not open, then that means the next one is for me. You know, it's easier to move on from, you know, unheld. Woo! Sekgowa. Dictionary is not done.
It's not our first language.
Okay.
It's fine.
So, you know, like, you can, when you have it like that, you have the confidence to say, this door isn't mine. We can move. You know, when we are not sure of ourselves, we don't know if the door that we're trying to knock into is ours. And we're going to be scared even if we actually deserve to be in that room.
Yeah.
But you might tumble because you're not confident. And this is where the confidence comes from. I feel like we need to talk more about how can we prepare to be confident to get into, you know, a place where it's a whole different system. We have salaries now. We have to think about insurance. We have to think about medical aid.
Financial literacy gets into the chat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or we're gonna talk about everything today. So that's my and something that I'm very passionate about. I'm actually very angry. Like I feel like sometimes you need to be angry at certain systems. I'm very angry that there's nothing in between. I'm very upset, and I always talk about it. I always believe that if you have something you're upset about, talk about it, because what are the odds that someone else is upset about that? So I always talk about it. Oh, my TikTok, girl, I rambled for like 9 minutes. And they heard, and I'm like, we all have the same experiences. Guys, I feel like we need to talk about these things. Yeah, so that's... And then, so, Gen Z, the other part of the question. I really like us. I love us so much because we are disruptors, you know. Innovation in itself, which is a value in every single company you can think of. You can go on their website, you'll find either innovation, technology, something in there to do with futuristic movement. Ne? The beautiful thing about us is that that's where we are. And the beautiful thing about it is because you can't say that I want my company to run for just 5 years. You need, I get it, because you're serving a community, you're also serving yourself, right? So you need futuristic people. And what perfection would it be if we are there? You know, we're in the value that will, you know, plummet, not plummet. What is the word? Skyrocket a company. And it's so beautiful because now we're making them more competitors competitive to other companies. We're just like, oh, we have AI. Oh, we have, this type of technology. You can't. You are better. You know what I mean? So that we have a lot of that in there. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, that's something that we actually do need to unpack, especially because of how just GenZ are also, kind of like advising or rather changing the way things have been done before.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big job on its own. But however, let's just take a quick breather. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the chat room. This is Amantle Nsala with Palesa. We'll be right back. I'm back with Palesa Sealetsa, and we are discussing GenZ entering the workforce. Now, this might sound a bit unserious, but one of the things that really scare me about starting to work is, when I go to school, I'm thinking I have to text my friend, are you there for the lesson? Are we going to have lunch together?
Yeah.
Now, imagine a whole different world. Now, I have to find new friends.
Ooh.
I have to go for lunch alone. And it's funny because there's so many things that I could be worried about, but I'm worried about who to have lunch with.
Oh. That one is a deep one.
Yeah, but we'll talk about it. I want us to talk about now, like, just a generational bias against Gen Z. And I know even just the fact that we're called the change makers, the innovators, that's a bit scary for the millennial, because what are we changing? What are we disrupting?
Yeah.
So I just want you to give it to me according to your experience when you entered the workforce. How did you see this generational bias? How did you think all these narratives were making it difficult for you to even propel in the work environment?
Ooh, these are very good questions, girl.
So,
wow, that's a very beautiful question. So, well, in this instance, sorry, can we take a pause? Say that question again. Is it possible to take a pause? Okay, say that question one more time. It literally slipped out while I was answering.
Basically, just like how do you like narratives about Gen Z like to stop you from propelling in the workforce?
Okay. Should I just continue? Okay. So the narrative that we have all heard everywhere is that we are lazy. We are lazy. We want things done our way.
We want to be spoon-fed.
We want to be spoon-fed. We want opportunities to fall out our laps and all that. But have you actually had a conversation, an objective conversation with a Gen Z, like how we're sitting here? Not debating. Okay, debating, sure. But where you're saying, I'm here to listen to you and you're here to listen to me. Whether I'm a Gen Z seated on the seat and you are a millennial or Gen X or a baby boomer, right? So that is what the problem is. There is no conversation we're having. We're just throwing, things at each other and accusations and and it's just like, even in a conversation, in a relationship, you're not going to move forward unless you actually sit down and have a conversation. Some relationships have therapists, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
actually
true.
it's important to talk. But now there's that rigid, in between these two generations. How are we going to move forward? You're always going to tell me I'm lazy. And I'm always going to point at you and say, you're not listening to me. I'm not lazy. I just want things in a certain way, right? So some of the things that were hindering that is, number one, is just the fact that 2000.
Yeah.
I really hate that term because to me it's derogative. It's, you already have a perception of me. I don't know where it came from, but it didn't come from me. And that's not fair.
It's like you don't give me a clean slate to actually show you what I'm capable of.
You already know who I am. You have my birth certificate, my Omang, you have my license. That you even have my house ship. You know what I mean? So you haven't given me the opportunity to actually say, no, that's not what I am. Happy, I don't even. You also have to think about the fact that the where that started. Where did it start from? Right. So I had this little 2000 thing because I'm born in 2000 on the dot. So I had this little 2000. Hey, Lona, hey, and I knew that I needed my voice to be heard, but it won't be heard if I'm saying the same thing everyone is saying. If I'm saying the same thing, let's say all my 2000, I'm gonna say, no, let me not call us that. Disruptors. I'm gonna call us disruptors. If all the disruptors are saying this one thing, it's just a pull of the same thing. It won't click in the mind. So I had to change the way that I speak. change the way that I show my value. I don't want to come here and just show you my value because I'm young and vibrant and stuff. No, everyone is young, vibrant. There's 80-year-olds that are still young and vibrant at heart. You know what I mean? So I learned how to, okay, I have to analyze situations more now. I have to see, does Patrick like cheese? One of these days I'll get him a cheesecake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to go into personal, not too personal. Like personal weight can go below the surface. I had to have conversations so they hear how I speak, so they hear how I think. Once I broke that barrier, it was the allowance of, okay, show me your value. So we also, as young people, unfortunately, we have to learn how to break the barrier. But we have to break the barrier by being more intentional about talking to the person, make them want to listen. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. So that's what I did. I had to analyze certain. I'm already an analytical person by nature. Even my career is just analysis. Oh my goodness, this word analysis. Yes, so I had to do it like that, and also I got in the work environment with a mentality of I need to find a gap. I didn't want to follow someone. Because I don't know, there's just always something in me that just says I need to do big. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's God. You know what I mean? Like I need to do something drastic. You know, I feel like we are disruptors, and there's something that's just always pushing me to do it. Even though I'm scared, I just have to, because I won't sleep at night properly. Like my heart beats very fast, so I have to do it. I have to lean into it. So, you know, with regards to my career, that's that I had to have conversations. I had to let them know that I'm actually very intelligent. I'm an intellect. I want to challenge systems, but before I challenge your system, I want to challenge how you think. So once you see that I can bend the laws of your nature and your mind, you will then trust that I can do the same thing for a company, or the same thing for market. I do digital marketing, the same thing for your company. And the beautiful thing about, you know, my career in marketing is that it's always changing. So, you know, I have to keep up with trends, have to keep up with the technology that's being used in marketing now. So I think my competitive advantage is I'm always doing research. I'm always seeing, okay, what's new? Because people will always listen to what's new. They can choose whether or not to do it, but as long as you know that I came to you with a new solution. So, hey, we have this area that we need to go past, but tailor make the way that you approach people in a way that they will understand your value. Even if it's in a conversation about a penguin's webbed feet compared to a one for a duck, be interesting. That's what really got me past that. I still get the 2000 thing, but I'm the 2000 that can disrupt.
Yeah.
But please don't call me a 2000. Like, please, I beg you, I'm a disruptor. We all are. That's, yeah.
You know, one of the things that I actually want us to talk about, it's funny because when we listen to activists talking about how it's important for us to expand platforms and make sure that there's diversity and there's inclusion, we think that those are conversations particularly for the activists and those who are into socially engaging issues. But I think now when you get into the corporate world, you realize that, wait, there's actually a need for diversity, there's need for inclusion. And after this quick break, I want us to delve in it, especially with diversity and inclusion. There's this quote, I believe it was for the Forbes panel discussion this year, where one of the women was saying that one of the things that we do normally as humans is when we have words such as diversity and inclusion, we believe that just when we focus on inclusion, it means that diversity on its own will go peak. So after this break, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We will come back to talk about Gen Z entering the workforce. You are tuned into the chat room, and this is Amantle Nsala. I am with Palesa Sealetsa. I have a problem with butchering people's surnames. Am I doing well? Am I with you?
You know what's so hilarious is that there's two ways to say my surname. I can't really say it here because I will really be butchered by Ketswakanye. So me like the pronunciation. I'm still learning because I move from here to here. It goes from Sealetsa or Sealetsa.
Okay, I'll go with Sealetsa.
I think the first one is the right one though.
Sealetsa.
Sealetsa.
Okay, we need your mom on the phone.
My dad is about to kill me.
Okay, so we were now talking about diversity and inclusion within the workforce. I just want you to now take me through that road. You know, while we're looking at not to come at the millennials and the previous generations, but I think when it comes to now social activism, particularly in the workplace, they're kind of a bit detached from it. So now as a Gen Z, now knowing that the things such as mental health, all these socially engaging issues, how do you now introduce them into a workforce that has just been orchestrated to function in a way that excludes all these issues?
So in instances like that, because now you're disrupting a system, you know, in just IT in itself, you have to bring the data to see the credibility of your disruption. So when it comes to, you know, a Gen Z coming and saying mental health is very important, you know, we need to do more training because this and that, as much as we can say that that's what we need, there needs to be more that's put on the table. You know, there needs to be research that you can present. You know, it's like a dissertation. You know, you have a theory that you want to prove, and you have to prove it through different methodologies and all that, and you know, literature reviews. It's the same way I believe. Honestly, I believe with human interaction or even in a company, I have to tell you and prove to you why it's very important for us to do this. So we're not jabbing or throwing jabs at millennials. No, we're not. Actually, I see a lot of comments from millennials that say, you know, I wish we were as brave as you guys.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that. And I also just, you know, do research on why they assume, not assume, but why they say that, why they believe that. So I talk about Gen Z. Gen Z in itself, let's start at the very bottom, what they are. So Gen Z is a generation that was born within the midst of the fourth industrial revolution. So that was when, so before the third industrial and the ones prior was when they introduced both the steam engine, body typewriters, and here we have the iPhone.
Yeah.
We have AI. We have
technology at its finest.
We have. Let's even talk about social media being now a platform for research. Ask me the last time I did a Google research. I don't even remember because I have TikTok, because I have actual people different from me that are demonstrating a certain thing that I need to understand, right? So with Gen Zs, we're exposed to too much information already. That means our world, I don't want to compared to the others, are much wider, is a much bigger world. We know what's happening in Kenya in seconds. We know what happened in, you know, this war that's going on. We know about the hurricane Milton, right? What does that have to do with, you know, Botswana? But we know it and we care. We empathize with people that are in different parts of the world, right? So we are connected outside of where we are. That also means information. We know too much, and that means we are practicing our free will now. Stephanie from LA said this is how I should do business. I think I want to listen to her because she spoke in a way that's very interesting. Because Thabo here in Botswana didn't explain it to me in a way that resonates with me. So personalization is what Gen Zs really, really lean into, because there's different ways to say one thing. You find that here, there's only 3 ways to say one thing, but outside there's 10 million ways, and we can choose which ones. So the understanding of that from, you know, the older people also, they need to understand that we're born in the midst of change, in the midst of innovation. So you have to accommodate us because your company wants to be an innovative company. You have to be innovative with your workforce as well, not just because you introduced AI to your systems. Your people are also the drivers of your company. They say a company is not a company without company. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's my take on that one.
You know, when you talk about maybe like politics and you know, I realize that the older generations are so scared of how Gen Z is going to be in leadership roles. It's almost like a panic moment for them. It's almost a panic moment for them. Like I could have a conversation with someone at Choppies, maybe disagreeing about something, and the first thing that would click is, how are you guys going to be the
Oh my goodness,
presidents
like,
of
I
the
can't wait. Like I'm
you
telling,
know?
I cannot wait for a Gen Z to be president. That's gonna be
Yeah.
really interesting.
So now I just want us to bring it back to the corporate world or just Gen Z entering the workforce. Just give me just a quick run through of how you envision Gen Z in the workforce.
We're getting in my mind. I'm going to be very, 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 very descriptive. So in my head, the first thing that came to my mind is how an office looks. We love stories. We love reasoning behind certain things. Why is that couch blue and that one blue also?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is that blue, 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 blue? I understand that that's a brand color, but are we all going to be blue? Are we all going to be red? You know what I mean? The vibrance in the office is also a thing, you know? And that's number one, is the vibrance in the office. The way that tables are, the way that chairs are, the way that the board is, the boardroom is, will be different. And number two is we don't have to sit down all the time. We don't have to sit down at a desk for 9 hours, 8 hours a day. No, I don't think that's how it's. I feel like there's going to be a time where we're gonna have tables that are. It's in America right now. Actually, they elevate the tables.
Yeah.
And you stand while you work. Some people stand while they gym and stuff, like work while they are walking on a treadmill. So I feel like there's gonna be that mergence of different ways to still be productive. And then I feel like what else is gonna be different? I think meetings are going to be shorter. You know how
I
they
actually
say that.
saw a post on Facebook. I think it was like many people, Gen Z, were actually sharing it, where they were saying that the moment they find someone saying, "Let me expand more of it," is when they end the call because they're not about to go into another hour of meeting.
I think the reason why I'm saying that, you'd find that certain meetings are more of, hey, how are the kids? I mean, it's okay, but it's like, we are here to do a strategy. We're here to see the review. Let's get to it because I have something to do. You're saying we're here for 30 minutes. How bua kan jaya 35 minutes. And how am I going to cater for that 5 minutes? So those things where it's just like, can we come here, agenda set.
Get into
Let it be set. Let's know what a mang buaing. I feel like there's going to be so much structure, more detailed structure when it comes to like issues of meetings. Is this meeting to discuss? Is this meeting to implement? Is this meeting to evaluate? I feel like there's going to be more specifics with working. So we can dedicate time, because sometimes an hour, time does not equally convey quality. You know, I think we're going to also change the fact that time does not equal quality. The fact that as long as you are bringing value, however means that is, and it's measured, and you can see, then I think that, I think that's what it's gonna look like. Yeah. And more dance parties in the office. You know, sometimes you just a dance break. You know, just for.
Actually, saw that you wanted to do something like that for the Connect to Successy Summit.
Oh yeah,
where you had something engaging.
Yes. I feel like, honestly, like, if I ever have a company, best believe
it's going to be a fun world there.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have like probably, and you know how in primary we used to have break time, like from 10 to 11. I genuinely feel like I'm gonna bring that back. I'm gonna bring break time. I'm gonna bring like 5 seconds dance party, and then there's gonna be speakers. Boom, boom, for 5 seconds, go back to work. Yeah, but obviously not in front of clients. But we can
call me when you have like a company. I'm ready to work there.
Oh, girl, trust me.
Yes.
Trust me.
Palesa, thank you so much for being with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the chat room. I was with Palesa Sealetsa, and we were talking about Gen Z entering the workforce. Now, you know the routine. If you're watching from YouTube, you need to press that subscription button and that notification bell. I'm not a YouTuber, but you get my drift. And we're also there on your Facebook. The episode will be aired. So thank you so much for watching. This is the chat room.